moving right along here.
All kinds of topics.
Next, we have Bev Stump to talk about identity theft protection. We might miss something there. Well, we have two.
Yes, Penny Blatt. This is an employee benefit, and we actually work with 30 counties now. And I heard you mention some of them. We work with Raleigh County, Doddridge County, Gilmer County. We work with Wyoming County, Greenbrier. We actually work with 35,000 companies now. And the first thing you'll find there in your packet is we are also an approved vendor through the state of West Virginia. So this is a payroll deduction benefit that they offer to all the state agencies. We work with all the prisons and the DHHRs and things of that nature. And I'm going to just explain a little bit about what we do. I don't want to take very much of your time, but actually I was a school teacher in West Virginia for 17 years when I ran into the service. And I worried about liability in the classroom. And that's really the only thing that I was thinking about when this service was offered to me. And then I found out very soon that it's a lot more than that. You know, we say equal justice under the law, but sometimes we forget how we're going to pay for that. And there's a lot of people out there today, middle-class people, that have no way of getting legal advice or legal help when they need it. So that's what our company's about. We've been in business for 42 years. We work with Kroll Background America, which has also been in business for 42 years. They are the leading security and fraud company in the world. That's the one that works with our military and government, the one they just called in for Michelle Obama's breach and things of that nature. They asked us to join with them because they understood 7 years ago that most of identity theft is about legal situations, about 80% of it. So if you have the legal part of it and the most powerful identity theft company out there joined together to completely protect our members. And this is a study that was done outside of our company, and Worry Less, Live More. It was 1,000 people, decision analysts. 57 million Americans have legal issues. Even though they don't look at it as a legal issue a lot of times, if they just had the help or the advice of an attorney without having to worry about the high hourly cost, it can prevent, just like preventative maintenance, medical situations. Some of this is preventative legal situations. And why is that important to an employer? A lot of the bigger counties that we're with now was looking at this service like people miss work for a lot of different reasons. And I know absenteeism is a big thing in all the school systems. And this is just another way that they can get help without having to worry about, I have a hearing today on child custody. I have this or I have that or I have this legal issue. They can come to work and know they have 1,100 attorneys nationwide to take care of all those issues for them. They're not having to ask, who can I get to help me with this situation? Many Americans go it alone. 93% of the respondents believe lawyers charge too much for their services. I think that's, you know, we all believe that. Even though we all have attorneys, we may have an attorney on retainer, and that's great. But attorneys are licensed in one state, and they specialize usually in one area of law. So, you know, we all go out of state sometimes, right? So what are you going to do if you go to California and you have a car accident? Or if you even get a traffic ticket, something of that nature. 76% of respondents said they were hesitant to call an attorney. 9 out of 10 said if it would be more affordable, they would seek legal advice even in trivial issues. And that's what we do. We cover trivial issues and we cover major issues. The only thing that the employees would not be allowed to use this for is against their employer, because we do work through employers nationwide. We have 35,000 companies now that we work with. Nearly 90% of Americans say they don't have any form of legal insurance or legal protection. More than 60% reported they would be interested in purchasing legal protection. 66 of the respondents reported that they had at least one day off work in the past year to deal with a legal issue. 70% of the respondents with legal benefits plans said they used the service more than 3 times a year. And you know, it's funny because before you have a service like this, you don't have any legal situations. But once you get it, you need all this legal advice, or you know, your child it may be something about a car accident or a traffic ticket or a will, anything. So, what this service does, actually, it covers the whole family, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week nationwide for any legal situation. We have 1,100 attorneys nationwide, and we have an attorney firm in every state. So when your employees have an issue, you know, I've, just from my own experience where I used to work, say a woman in a situation, an abusive situation, you know, she's not going to come to work and ask all of her friends, who can I call, what can I do? With this service, she can pick up the phone every day if she wants to on a toll-free number and call an attorney that specializes in family law. They may have they don't have their wills done. 90% of Americans walk around without their wills done today, and they don't realize how important that is to their families. Your employees with this service gets a will free with just their monthly service. And they get one for the member and the spouse. Our attorney firm charges the same thing for someone coming in off the street. They charge $1,000 for 2 wills, the same wills they provide for our members. We're the only thing in America that covers vehicular homicide, negligent homicide. I know a principal at a school we were at recently hit a little girl on a bicycle, and he's in that situation right now. And I know a lot of situations like that. That's around a $75,000 retainer. How many employees could come up with $75,000, and where would that be covered, your legal expenses? Nowhere. It's not covered by car insurance. This is the only thing that covers them 100% as long as they're legal. So this covers on-the-job and off-the-job criminal law issues, civil and criminal lawsuits. It covers tax audits. They have an attorney, a top-rated attorney that has at least 15 years of experience to take care of them in any legal situation. They do not have to check their checkbook when they pick up the phone and call an attorney about whatever is going on in their life at the time. We also have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week emergency number. There was a young lady right here in Charleston that was stopped for something completely different and extradited to Virginia. She sat there for 8 days. When I say it's important to have attorneys in every state, she was a victim of driver's license identity theft. You know, so we also cover all 5 areas of identity theft. And that is huge right now. You know, I was a teacher when PEIA lost 270,000 people's information. But since then, the IRS has lost it. The state of West Virginia, the state of Ohio, TJ Maxx, Citibank. But that's not how these thieves are getting our information. They're getting it because 80% of the businesses that you've handed your information over to for years has already had a breach. So what does that mean? That means we're all going to be a victim of identity theft. And with this, they have a top-rated company to not only protect them from identity theft, but to step in and physically do the restoration for them. That's about a 900-hour process right now, because you have to deal with the Federal Trade Commission, American Medical Association, Department of Motor Vehicles. I mean, it just goes on and on. And these are professional people doing this to us, so we have to have professional people to help us with it. We were in a county last year at this time, and the superintendent there said, you go out today, you're going to 3 schools, you go out and get 75 memberships, and this will be a payroll deduction. We came back with 93 memberships, because I said to him, you don't know what's going on in your employees' life. You don't know what kind of problems they have. And that's very true. We don't know what's going on in our co-workers' life. You know, something like this, we've had it used for people that their children have been going through treatment for leukemia, and their insurance decides they're not paying anything else. This is a matter of life and death sometimes. This lady did not have the money to even call an attorney. Our company, she had this membership. They went to court for her, and they won. So you can use this membership, again, for any situation, except you can't use it against your employer. And they restore your identity back to where it was before the situation started. And they let you know, because most of you probably are aware that financial identity theft is not about your credit cards. You report something within 60 days on a statement, and you're not going to be held responsible. But when someone buys all 5 of your identities, and they go to another state and set up a new P.O. box, How can you report it when you don't even know it exists? That's financial identity theft. Our company actually knows as soon as that happens, and they contact our members immediately. How many times can a teacher or a bus driver or anybody afford to take off work 800 hours, daytime, 9 to 5 hours, to try to repair their identity theft? What do? Especially the lady that was from Charleston, extradited to Virginia. She had criminal charges in 5 states. She had to have attorneys in every one of those states to take care of those issues for her. So this service gives your employees and the employer peace of mind, increases productivity, because I know if I was going to school and I had a situation on my mind, my child has a car wreck, what's going to happen to them? If I knew I had a qualified attorney to take care of that for me, then I could go to school and do my job and not be worried about that. Decrease employee stress, keep up progressive company image. So this service is very affordable for your employees, and every time we go into a school system, we have a massive sign-up rate, because again, we don't know what's going on in their lives right now. The service is $25.90 a month, $12.95 per pay, and they can cancel it anytime they want to. And because they're part of a group, they get a group rate to have 1,100 attorneys on retainer nationwide. The girl that was arrested in Charleston, if she'd had this service, it wouldn't have cost her a dime, because she would have already had attorneys in every state in the country to represent her. And this is another issue that I don't know if any of you have ever faced, but I have personally. I've gotten a couple traffic tickets in the last year and a half, and I didn't have to go back to the state where I got those tickets, because I called my West Virginia attorney firm. An attorney from Ohio called me within 5 minutes, said, number one, this is not going to cost you anything, and number two, you don't have to go back, we'll go to court for you. Now, I'm not saying that this gives people the right to go out and speed down the road, but sometimes we get tickets. I mean, that's just the way it is. So it protects driving records, and that's important to bus drivers. That's very important, that they have a clean driving record, and this protects that. And overall, I think it's a tremendous benefit, and more companies, school systems, we work with almost every college in the state. More and more employers are seeing what this is doing for their employees. So that's the service, and we would like to offer it here as an employee benefit, and it doesn't cost the Board of Education anything. It's completely up to the employee if they want to sign up with a service or not. So do you have any questions, or I'm about to lose my voice?
Okay. Ms. Wilkes? Oh, I thought. So is this payroll deductible only? Is that the only way that it can be done?
That's the best way. That's what all employees ask us to, that's what they want. We have, 2 school systems out of 30 that does it on what we call a white card.
Mm-hmm.
So they can do that, but most of them offer it through payroll deduction.
Okay. My other question, is this only available to school employees or their spouses, these families?
No, we work with.
Well, I mean through the Board of Education. I mean, you'd have to be an employee or a spouse.
Yes, you have to be an
family
employee. It
member.
covers their whole family. Their children up to 23 if they're still in college, anywhere in the country, up to 21 if they're in the household unmarried, and a child with physical or mental disabilities is covered for life. But when I started this service, I was actually teaching school, and I thought I'll never do anything with this unless a lawsuit happens to come up. And about 5 years, well, the first time I used it was 3 weeks after I got it, and I thought, oh my gosh, every American needs this. Every American deserves equal justice, and most of them just don't have the money to have that. So I started seeing what it did. So about 8 years ago, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go out there and tell everyone about this, and I'll tell you why. That one reason I did that, there was a gentleman at one of our conventions, and his son had a car accident. He was a teenager.